Hello and welcome to tutorial 49, or a new version of tutorial 49. Just going back to what we did in that tutorial, it was simply calculate the linear regression of price and then add two parallel lines a certain number of standard deviations away from the linear regression line, and that was plotted, or rather drawn, on the chart. And what a Markplex member asked me was it possible to do something similar but only use the bars that are in today, that have occurred today. So that's what we're going to do in this tutorial, just to show you what that looks like. We've got a number of eventualities here, and it doesn't really look very much different, but what you'll notice is that these lines start on the first bar of the day, and if we just go back to the original program, they just go back a certain number of bars that you specify as an input. So let's just have a look at what we've done, and just going to go into the program. This is available for download, by the way, and this is something that will work with multi-charts as well as TradeStation. So back in the original program, we had an input for numbars, and what we could do, because that stayed the same, is calculate sum x and sum xx in a one statement. Now with this new program, we're going to be recalculating that, because the numbars is no longer an input. What I've done instead is made it a variable, and that variable we are resetting to 0 at the beginning of a new day. In other words, date this bar is different from date last bar. In other words, it's a new day, so we're resetting it to 0, and then we're incrementing it by 1 each bar, and then we're having to recalculate this because the numbers is changing, so sum x and sum xx comes out of that once. Apart from that, most of the rest of the program is very similar, and the only other thing that I changed in this, if I recall correctly, is that in the original program we've used a sort of nested if-then type statement. So if graph option 1, then this; if graph option 2, this, and so on. In this one, what I've done is just used a switch statement, which I think makes it a little clearer. And incidentally, the options, you might be wondering what the three options are. Just look at the image here. So option 1, this keeps the lines updated from the beginning of the chart with each new bar. Option 2, it'll draw a new line for each new bar. And then option 3, it will just draw the line at the point where you apply it to the chart. So what I've done is created another video which just shows how the price, or how the lines develop during the day. And what I'm going to do is just edit that and speed it up so you can see what is going on. Okay, so we've got some charts open now before the trading day started, and you'll see that the lines have been drawn for the previous day to the end of the previous day. And then what's going to happen as soon as the new day starts, then the new bar is going to start being formed on all of the charts, and for the ones with the option 1 and 2, we're going to see new lines beginning to be formed. So I'm just going to zoom in on chart 1 so we can see that being formed, but you'll notice that the lines are very close together at the moment, the standard deviations, and that's because, as I explained before, we're basing those on just the bars that are occurring today. So what I'm doing here, I'm speeding up the video so that you can see the lines forming more quickly, and you can begin to see the three parallel lines beginning to form. Just 2 bars at the moment. We're soon going to get a third. There we go, and we can just see those. Now on the 20-minute chart, that's clearly going to take a lot longer, and the same process will occur there, but I've done this on a minute chart so you can get an idea more clearly. Remember that option 1, we're drawing to the most recent bar. Option 2, we keep drawing more lines to the latest bar, and or rather we draw a new line and we leave the line we've already drawn in place. And then option 3, it just draws a line when it's first applied to the chart and stays with that. And since this was applied before the market started, then there's just a line on yesterday's bar.